Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to the Tarot channel hosted by the Yulia Petrova. We are excited to begin our insightful reading session now, where we will explore the cards and uncover the guidance they offer. Thank you for joining us on this mystical journey. So, it seems that everyone is gathered and present now. You had a total of 10 minutes to wait. So, I'm starting now. We're not waiting for anyone else. Today, we are presenting part 1 of the global forecast. For those unfamiliar with this series, it's an annual tradition where I share detailed predictions before the new year begins. Throughout the year, at the beginning of January, I decided not to delay this year, not to wait until the end. So, I'm not an astrologer. It's not a path I've pursued or have any particular interest in. Moreover, what relevance does astrology even hold in my life or in the context of my personal beliefs and experiences? I find it intriguing how some people deeply resonate with it, but for me, it feels distant and unrelated to my reality. Let's get started with our reading journey. I will begin by focusing on the United States of America, and from there, we will seamlessly move through the diverse landscapes of Canada, travel down to Mexico, explore the vibrant cultures of South America, and take in everything as a cohesive whole. Our exploration will continue as we shift our attention to the right side of the earth, delving into our vast and varied lands that stretch across continents and offer a rich tapestry of history and geography. With the passage of time and growing older, I've come to understand just how small this planet truly is. Traveling around the world isn't as difficult as it may seem, and it's relatively simple to visit the majority of countries with proper planning. Everything is easily accessible, quick to reach, and conveniently close. There's no sense of overwhelming vastness to navigate. In fact, the planet Earth is small. If you're interested, you can search on YouTube or Google or Yandex, wherever you are. Just type in Global Forecast Tarot Yulia Petrova for any year to check how previous readings went, if you want. I won't be making any public displays or comments about how my readings ultimately played out or unfolded. I think anyone interested can just go and see. I understand that this could potentially boost my ratings, but unfortunately, I simply do not have the time to sit down and thoughtfully comment on my own readings at this moment. While it might indeed turn into a fascinating narrative in exploring previous global forecasts, I would be more than happy to share that information with you. However, I would prefer to present it in a concise and very short format for easier understanding. But again, time. Let's go now. We are definitely starting, right? Lydia, thank you so much for your generous donation and for your ongoing support of the channel. To kick things off, we will begin by delving into Canada. Let's discuss what to expect for Canada in the year 2025, including an insightful forecast for the near future. There are certain events that will undoubtedly carry over into future years, and it is important for you to be aware in advance that there are specific events which, of course, may not take place as planned. This is due to the possibility that significant global changes may occur, which could ultimately alter the course of these anticipated events in unforeseen ways. Looking at the current energies, today is December 1st, 2024, and I am reflecting. In general, most things tend to play out as expected, but some events may simply drop off or fade away because, for example, they are not true karmic events. Rather, they are just random occurrences that have taken place without any significant impact or deeper meaning attached to them. This situation occurs frequently, so if you are keen on understanding general concepts, I want to clarify that I do not assert having a singular interpretation stemming solely from the cards presented. Again, everything I will say today and in the following parts of these forecasts is not my opinion. It is what I see from the tarot, okay? So please, I kindly ask that questions to me are now officially closed, and I will not provide any answers. That is clear. Therefore, anyone who is interested can take their time to lay out their cards and carefully figure things out as they wish or engage in whatever else they are doing. In Canada, looking ahead to the near future, specifically the year 25, it becomes evident that the population will face very significant financial burdens. This indicates that, financially speaking, taxes may rise considerably, which could make it challenging for individuals and families to maintain their standard of living. As a result, many may find themselves accumulating more substantial and larger debts, leading to greater financial strain and anxiety. The overall economic landscape may create a cycle of financial hardship that is difficult to escape, affecting the quality of life for many Canadians. In addition, Canada will actively be knocking on the doors of various new communities, seeking opportunities to participate in influencing the integrity and operational standards of several large organizations and unions across different countries around the world. This initiative reflects Canada's commitment to fostering international collaboration and ensuring ethical practices in global governance and labor relations. That is to also gain some necessary firmness and credibility on the international stage, while effectively utilizing the platform to enhance influence and cooperation. Thus, we see that Canada will be quarreling with some nations while simultaneously establishing stronger diplomatic and economic ties with others in the international community. I observe that Canada will consider individuals arriving from the CS countries with a slightly different perspective and approach than others. The order will indeed change, yes. For those arriving now, it seems that the situation is still somewhat manageable, but it will inevitably become much more difficult as time goes on. In 2025, both the challenges of effective communication and the chances to access quality education will be significantly reduced, making learning more accessible for everyone. So that's the current situation we have here. Next, I should mention the intriguing possibility of Canada gradually becoming somewhat financially independent from its neighboring countries, particularly the United States. This independence would imply a growing desire within Canada to distance itself from the economic and financial frameworks of countries like the US, as well as other nations with which Canada traditionally interacts. Such a shift could involve Canada seeking to establish its own unique economic policies and trade agreements that better reflect its national interests. This move towards financial autonomy may be driven by various factors, including the desire for self-sufficiency, increased control over its economic resources, and a stronger emphasis on developing domestic industries. Overall, this evolving landscape presents a fascinating dynamic that could reshape Canada's future economic relationships. Look, the situation is that Canada will be very cautious about joining any military alliances and will likely refrain from making comments on serious wars and conflicts, as there are already significant consequences stemming from Canada's involvement in discussions in international forums regarding the ongoing war. This careful approach reflects a desire to maintain diplomatic relations and avoid escalating tensions while navigating complex global issues. Consequently, Canada aims to balance its commitments with the need for strategic prudence in international affairs. In general, it can be said that overall, Canada is not experiencing a significant population increase compared to the numbers from the original settlers who arrived in the country many years ago. While there may be some growth, it does not reflect a substantial increase relative to those early population figures. I would say that a diverse range of other nationalities and various races are increasingly coming to Canada. For instance, there is a possibility that more individuals from India or Arab nations may be migrating to Canada in the near future. By 2025, new opportunities will arise for these newcomers, and those who are already residing in Canada will notice and feel the impact of this demographic change. Next, I should mention that Canada serves as an excellent starting point for businesses from various other countries looking to expand their operations into North America. This situation has become a defining fate for Canada, where many individuals acquire their education and skills, and then ultimately decide to relocate to more developed countries such as the United States or Australia in search of better opportunities and living conditions. Some individuals choose to stay, but the lunar chart reveals that they are all striving to establish their own sense of order in 2025, although it seems things are not progressing very well at all. Individuals who possess substantial financial resources will quickly seek to evacuate or escape the situation at hand. Thus, it continues to be a country where every individual is in a constant state of becoming and evolving. And while the year 2025 does not alter this fundamental reality, pursuing an education will become significantly more challenging. Additionally, the availability of financial opportunities will likely be increasingly difficult to secure, making it challenging to navigate these obstacles as they strive for personal and professional growth. I believe that an increasing number of individuals from a wide variety of distinct races and ethnic backgrounds will eventually come to that place. So it is likely that these individuals are not white people, most likely. Next, I would like to emphasize that Canada may soon begin some serious military training and preparation efforts on a much larger scale than previously undertaken, indicating a significant shift in their defense strategy and readiness. So Canada, can you see what cards are at the bottom of the deck? This all strongly indicates that Canada may increasingly desire to have more significant influence and presence on a global level in various international matters and discussions. Canada will be briefly discussed. Next, the USA. If you are keenly interested in exploring and understanding the aspects of the USA during Trump's 4-year presidential term, you can visit my international channel, where I have compiled and shared insightful content that captures that unique period. Be sure to check it out there for a comprehensive overview. Next, about the USA, but you need to know English. So for those who know English, turn on the subtitles. You can watch with subtitles there too. What will the United States of America look like in the year 2025, considering social, economic, and technological changes? The United States will be making significant efforts to bring an end to the ongoing war directly in this region, and a considerable amount of work will be undertaken toward this goal. However, it appears that the USA may encounter a critical mistake at the very beginning of the year, which could complicate their plans. Why? Because this concept traces back to the very beginning, yes, and I perceive it as a chain, so you can fully understand. Initially, it is clear that they will somehow provide a lot for the war, for military actions. We know where military actions are taking place. It's Ukraine today, and only then will everything move towards reconciliation. However, what they are providing today will indeed have very negative effects on various aspects, yes, and this could lead to significant consequences in the near future. Next, I would like to highlight that there exists a significant inequality in living standards among different communities. I could confidently assert that the middle class will almost be entirely erased in a literal sense, as the social landscape here comprises either very poor individuals struggling to make ends meet, or exceedingly wealthy people with significant financial resources and assets. Right? And there will emerge a deeply entrenched, very strong caste-like division among different groups of people. There will undoubtedly be a noticeable gap between individuals who have no money at all and those who possess considerable wealth. This situation will likely result in a noticeable increase in crime rates, particularly in relation to issues of justice and public safety in our communities. What else? The United States is an expansive nation, comprising a total of 50 distinct states. Given this vastness, any analysis we conduct will inevitably be somewhat conditional and succinct, as we are considering numerous regions, and our aim is to avoid prolonging the discussion unnecessarily. Yes, there might be some kind of internal tension or even a potential coup occurring within the United States, suggesting significant political unrest and instability in the current environment. This situation could be related to various internal troubles within the organization, suggesting that if these issues are not addressed, people might indeed face severe consequences or even perish. This troubling scenario sets a significant and concerning precedent for the future moving forward. Once again, a significant portion of resources is being directed into the military sector, and the presence of the Tower card, along with the Death card, suggests that there will be monumental changes occurring in the states, and these changes are unlikely to be favorable or beneficial. In the United States, we can expect to see important transformations take place. Various financial issues are likely to arise. Living standards for many individuals and families will likely drop, and these changes will also impact land ownership rights and the overall ability to possess basic necessities. Essentially, this might even extend to the very air we breathe. These shifts could lead to a profound reevaluation of how people interact with their environment and resources. I'll even share what truly resonates with me about this topic. I literally spoke with my acquaintance from California just yesterday, and I want to tell you that it's really true that people, even if they own their homes here, even if it's paid off, they pay taxes for the rest of their lives as long as that property exists. Whether you own it or not, it doesn't matter if you're retired or not, you always pay taxes. So essentially, your home never truly becomes completely yours. You live there, and you remain obligated to pay for it for life. And this situation is truly evident here. People are increasingly left with nothing in their pockets, struggling to make ends meet, while those who were already wealthy will inevitably become even wealthier, further widening the gap between social classes. So, this prominent and thick line separating the wealthy class from others will become even more obvious and pronounced in society as time progresses. We can expect to see an increase in the number of expensive resorts, luxury cars, and various other high-end items, as everything will grow significantly in price. Housing and car prices will apparently just skyrocket here, as if nothing significant ever happened in the economy. Meanwhile, there may be some slight improvements in the healthcare sector, which is definitely a positive development worth noting. It seems that despite the challenges, some areas are still finding ways to progress and adapt. What else? It seems to me that the United States is heading towards significant upheavals and transformations within the country, so we are observing these maps indicating that we are approaching something quite momentous. The year 2025 might reveal to us some profound developments, such as citizens starting to protest more vigorously, people potentially shutting down their businesses, not working, and expressing various moments of dissent and protest. This unrest could stem from a variety of socio-political issues. Furthermore, despite the possibility that Trump might return to power, I would argue that serious and lasting changes are unfolding that will impact the future of the nation in ways that we can only begin to imagine. I can't predict with certainty that there will be a significant revolution in 2025, but I can honestly state that there is a noticeable and clear division among the population. This division is being deliberately and strategically fostered, as I previously mentioned regarding Castelnau, in a way that seems artificial. And of course, some individuals and families will have to lose their cherished homes due to this situation. However, there are detailed maps indicating that the positive aspect might be that, finally, some maternity leaves will be officially included in the benefits package. Furthermore, there could be good plans for some financial payouts to help ease the transition for those affected by these changes. I'm not saying this will take effect in 2025, but everything will be laid out for this beginning. Friendships will be formed with certain countries that have experienced conflicting relations, fostering cooperation and understanding, while with other nations there will be very serious and possibly irreparable broken relationships that could create lasting rifts between them. I would say that there will be considerable and significant pressure on those countries with which the USA still maintains relatively good diplomatic relations and ties. That's the United States. Next, we will be exploring Mexico. Very briefly, I believe that the initial phase of our journey will conclude right here on this vast continent. It seems like the perfect place for us to pause and reflect. So, let's gather our belongings and move forward together. In Mexico during the year 2025, what awaits the country? Mexico. An extensive wave of immigration is anticipated to surge into Mexico, which will likely include individuals returning from the United States, creating significant demographic shifts. This influx will result in an overwhelming number of homeless individuals, placing immense pressure on social services and draining the national budget, ultimately leading to an increase in crime rates. The peak of Mexican mafia activity, along with widespread theft and other criminal activities, is expected to reach an alarming high by the year 2025. During this time, crime will escalate to unprecedented levels, creating serious public safety concerns. However, it is projected that following this peak, crime rates will begin to decline gradually over the subsequent years as law enforcement efforts intensify and community initiatives take root. However, within the country, there is also a growing sense of discontent and increasing divisions among various regions. You could say that this represents one distinct type of Mexico, while that represents another type of Mexico, much like the diverse experiences found in different African countries. In South Africa, renowned for its precious diamonds, we observe the Republic of South Africa located in the southern region. In contrast, neighboring countries like Congo reveal stark differences in living standards. Similarly, we can see these varying levels of prosperity reflected in Mexico as well. Mexico is an incredibly vast and diverse country, Just so you know. I strongly encourage you to take a look at the map if you haven't in a while. It will give you a better sense of its size. The Ten of Wands suggests that indeed, as indicated by the Eight of Swords, it is quite challenging to find stable employment here. There will undoubtedly be significant difficulties for newcomers who are eager to live here and successfully establish themselves in this vibrant yet complex environment. And Mexico is repeating its history. Once again, all the undocumented immigrants will be returned to their home countries, and the flow of people will surge into Mexico like a massive, unstoppable tide. They will be like, in a small boat filled with not-so-good waste and unpleasant debris, surrounded by these people who contribute to the situation, you understand. So what's next? Mexico might unexpectedly begin to forge closer diplomatic and economic relations with various countries in Eastern Europe, aiming to elevate its own economic standing. This initiative could serve to establish a more significant presence and influence among nations that are not particularly economically advanced. By pursuing partnerships, Mexico seeks to diversify its economic ties and explore new avenues for growth and development. They are not welcomed by others. In here you see, there is a bit of a biased attitude here, but perhaps Mexico is ready to promise something here in the form of land, and perhaps to promise something in the form of resources in order to be part of this community. And from the Two of Pentacles, it can be seen that, for example, Mexico will not side with the USA, but with some other country. And the USA this year, in 25, will lose Mexico right under their noses. That is, Mexico will shift towards the eastern part of the map, yes, in order to build friendships. So not close to the USA. It's like this. Let's say, you see, as they often say, God doesn't punish with a stick. That's how it ultimately turns out in many situations in life. Well, and that's why the Two of Cups symbolizes deep connections. The concept of death, yes, it's often misunderstood. It's not about physical death, but rather about profound transformation. This transformation pertains to the entire state system itself and also involves the evolution of the relationships with those individuals we interact and form bonds with and so on. I hope you understand this deeper meaning, yes. So these are the intriguing stories I have carefully crafted and gathered for you. So what do you think about Brazil, right? It's quite an interesting topic, isn't it? I think you understand, right? Many small countries exist globally, such as Argentina and Puerto Rico, contributing to the rich diversity of our world. I will take a quick look very briefly at this now. Examine Brazil closely. In 2025, Brazil plans to take an active role in international affairs by developing and establishing strategic alliances globally. This initiative highlights Brazil's commitment to becoming more influential and engaged in the world stage, moving away from a passive stance in global matters. Brazil is poised to shine at international forums, captivating audiences through performances and beauty contests. These events will likely highlight the country's vibrant culture and talent, reinforcing its global reputation as a nation of beauty and charisma. While not necessarily political, these showcases aim to firmly establish Brazil's presence on the world stage. Brazil is currently grappling with a considerable challenge regarding the influx of undocumented individuals, and a substantial number of people are expected to arrive here, especially as a result of ongoing deportations from the United States, as you are likely aware. Moreover, the Lover's card signifies that they are genuinely striving for some kind of meaningful union, a consolidation of relationships, and are indeed ready to make commitments to other countries. They are working diligently to reach a new political level, attempting to form a cohesive country while actively moving away from the burdens of the past. This indicates a strong desire for collaboration and partnership, highlighting their commitment to fostering new alliances and creating a brighter future together. While it is true that all these countries maintain strong and close ties to the USA, which extends its influence over them, it is important to note that this relationship is similar to that of Mexico and Brazil, both of which are vast nations with significant cultural and economic diversity. It is essential for you to understand that both countries are clearly heading towards completely different and distinct horizons, which will ultimately shape their futures in unique ways. Next, I must tell you that we see a significantly different choice emerging. Yes, a choice that the country is actively making in another important regard. The next important topic will be related to water. It is highly probable that there will be some kind of massive disaster related to water that will eventually occur. The annual occurrence of severe floods and hurricanes in the States is alarming, and there's little point in further discussion about it. What else? Brazil in 2025, how will aspects develop here? Well, essentially, yes, this is indeed just the very beginning, by the way, of a significant military conflict that could escalate further. It may not be international, it could be internal instead. It's a struggle against a powerful mafia in this area, with many serious issues like that. But as far as I know, they currently have these amazing guerrillas in their care. Yes, a guerrilla in this context describes individuals who are part of a dangerous criminal gang that indiscriminately shoots anyone they choose and brazenly kidnaps innocent people for their own malicious purposes. And overall, Brazil is a very wild country. Yes, and of course, in addition to that, what else do we have happening here at this very moment? Yes, this is basically a direction towards a global level, but it's only a direction. I can't confidently assert that by the age of 25, Brazil will have transformed into a significant international capital city. And hey, are definitely heading in that direction to establish some tourism opportunities, you see. To foster an environment conducive to business growth, it is anticipated that business activities will. Certain illegal activities will be tackled to improve the overall landscape. However, it is important to note that tourism in Brazil poses real and serious dangers to personal safety in a literal sense, which travelers should be aware of when considering their plans to visit the country. Let's take a closer look at Puerto Rico, as there are numerous Russian-speaking Americans and a diverse range of people from different backgrounds living there. In Puerto Rico, by the year 2025, a significant influx of people is anticipated, which will dramatically raise housing prices throughout the island. This surge in population and interest will lead Puerto Rico to become immensely popular among affluent individuals seeking new opportunities. As a result, the region will evolve into one of the most developed and sought-after destinations, attracting both investors and residents alike, eager to experience its unique culture and beautiful landscapes. The transformation may also lead to increased economic growth and infrastructure development, further enhancing the quality of life for both newcomers and long-term residents. I would definitely say that yes, there are indeed some problems here. There are indeed significant issues with the law, particularly regarding how important decisions are made and implemented. The authorities do not always perform effectively in this context. There tend to be unusual laws and peculiar decisions made by those in power. Indeed, it is possible that there may be a significant change in the existing system of governance. Or alternatively, the authorities may be re-elected through various processes or mechanisms that allow them to maintain their positions. Elections may occur this year. I'm not fully aware, as you understand, about the specifics of each country, including what their governance systems entail. Honestly, I don't know. A significant influx of immigration is expected in 2025, and we are completely prepared to handle this situation, although I'm uncertain about some aspects. Next, it will become challenging to gain entry, which means that with this significant influx of people, there will inevitably be certain documents that will become difficult to acquire or obtain in a timely manner. It's important to note that this country is not particularly large in size, further complicating the situation as demand for resources and services escalates. This seems to be connected. However, they are likely to mismanage budget funds in 2025, leading to a significant amount of money being wasted or allocated to some bizarre and questionable expenses that do not serve the public interest. In fact, there will be significantly large expenditures incurred here in this particular situation. Russia, along with other Eastern countries, significantly influences the situation, and their involvement is important to understanding the broader context of the issue. Because there are several common interests and various business dealings between these countries that foster collaboration and mutual benefits. Any business, whether in tourism, services, or product sales, can succeed with the appropriate approach and strategy. That is, in these countries. In this case, they appear to mismanage the budget significantly in 2025, which inevitably complicates the overall financial situation considerably. Furthermore, it is important to note that they can also engage in friendly alliances and unions with Russia, fostering cooperative relationships based on mutual interests and shared goals. This is Argentina, a vibrant and culturally rich country in South America. Just a moment, please. Fast forward to Argentina in the year 2025. Well, Argentina in this time frame, I would say, clearly demonstrates a significant trend towards altering the course of historical events. It is notably uniting with other countries around the globe, many of which have had practically no close relations or collaborations in the past. This shift in international diplomacy and partnership reflects Argentina's desire to engage more actively on the world stage and foster stronger ties with nations that were previously overlooked or underrepresented in its foreign policy. But here, I think you can clearly see that Russia has also been quite cunning in its strategies, and it's evident why they take such actions, right? While the USA concentrated on the conflict in Ukraine, I can assert with confidence that Russia and the Eastern Bloc have been actively planning and trying to expand their influence in South America during this time. Regarding Argentina, I don't foresee any major changes in the immediate future. However, it is important to note that there will be a significant drought occurring in 2025, resulting in minimal rainfall during that year. This drought will likely be followed by a period of excessive rain, leading to some uneven patterns of precipitation. Consequently, there will be ambitious plans for the agricultural sector, potentially including the expansion of exports. These efforts may allow Argentina to capitalize on favorable market conditions, thereby exporting their agricultural products at competitive prices that could benefit the economy substantially. This initiative will create many job opportunities, but I don't expect a significant economic improvement for Argentina this year or in 2025. We'll need to monitor how the situation evolves in the coming times. In the year 2025, it is expected to be exceptionally challenging for the youth, as they will likely face significant hardships, including potential military obligations. They will be required to fulfill their military duty to the state, which may involve rigorous training and responsibilities that could impact their personal lives and future opportunities. The current generation in Argentina, whether born now or growing up, seems destined to engage in military actions. This expectation arises from the troubling perspective that the country is likely to become embroiled in a significant war or encounter serious internal strife in the near future. It's also impossible to separate internal from external conflicts, but there will be one. There are likely to be ongoing difficulties related to income levels, which means I cannot confidently assert that any significant changes will occur in Argentina at this time. For now, the situation remains more or less unchanged and consistent. Additionally, I just realized that I neglected to mention one more country that is relevant to this discussion. Give me a moment, I'll check the map. I need to look closely so I don't forget anything. There are a few more countries, okay. I want to look at Venezuela. They have experienced ongoing and constant problems throughout this year. So I've been spending some time in the United States, and just to share, I'm originally from Venezuela. I'm curious to see what the future holds for Venezuela in the year 2025. With translation services available, they will easily be able to view the English subtitles and continue forward with the content. It's an exciting time for dialogue and understanding across cultures. All right, let's get started. It's important to note that Venezuela maintains a notably strong and strategic friendship with Russia. I often come across various maps that consistently depict the Russian president prominently featured in the discussions and readings concerning geopolitical relationships. I've performed these readings quite frequently throughout my career, so to speak, gaining valuable insights each time. And what can I say? Yes, Venezuela continues to experience significant military unrest and instability within its society. Society is very active and easily susceptible to provocations. And by the year 2025, we will also witness various protests. There may be considerable and significant participation of women actively involved in these protests, and it is possible that preparations for military conflict are currently underway, indicating a lot of heightened activity and mobilization on various fronts. Venezuela is actively shifting its international political relations by pursuing new alliances and partnerships that better align with its current global goals and objectives. So that's Venezuela. The states will seek to provide financial support for ongoing conflicts, resulting in enduring military tensions that will pose a continuous challenge. This sponsorship is likely to significantly influence the dynamics and outcomes of these conflicts. And why the states? Because I don't say everything, but I ask about the states, what their relations are like, what they are with Russia, and so on. You know, it's very interesting here. It turns out that they will be attending several important events related to international relations, where they may be in the process of negotiating and entering into significant long-term agreements that could shape future collaborations and partnerships. Yes, it's a long period, but there are noticeable repetitions as if they have had relations with some of these Eastern countries before. I also see that the Four of Wands indicates that many individuals will be moving for various reasons, possibly related to celebrations or significant life changes that are occurring. The situation may be tied to various ecological issues, especially those associated with adverse weather conditions. This unfortunate interplay of factors has significantly contributed to the challenges currently being faced. Yes, there will indeed be financial support allocated for certain military conflicts, which may potentially involve mobilizing large numbers of people to gather in public squares for demonstrations or support. So, what additional interesting items do we have here? In Brazil, I would like to explore the neighboring countries of Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Paraguay, Chile, Argentina, and finally Uruguay as well as Paraguay. I'm glancing at the map. Well, Colombia is uniquely Colombia. I believe it might not be particularly interesting or appealing for you to explore further. Ecuador and Peru. A significant financial collapse affecting certain segments of the population. Potential unification efforts may arise with specific countries, especially in regions where disputes or unresolved issues with neighboring nations continue. This suggests a recurring cycle of persistent problems involving these neighboring states. And you know what else? There is also the internal authority that, as of today, is significantly damaging the overall state of the country, meaning it is actively ruining what is currently unfolding within the nation, particularly concerning what exists in the government structure. It seems there will be increasingly visible instances of theft and very strong pervasive corruption at the level of various authorities, because these issues already exist and are evident. The consequences of such corruption could have far-reaching effects on governance and public trust moving forward. Here, the air is thick with the unsettling scent of imminent military preparations, suggesting a looming conflict in regions like South America and Mexico. It's a foreboding aroma that signals the distressing anticipation of unpleasant military events on the horizon. Feeling unwell today? So do you clearly see how things are progressing and unfolding here in this situation? There are various situations unfolding around us that relate to the widespread destruction we observe, including certain burial methods. I can't quite articulate why, but it genuinely feels as though these practices are intertwined with the chaos and loss we are witnessing in our environment and communities today. I'm not sure who from these various countries will be watching me, but I can clearly see that there are viewers here. By the way, I also have several close friends from there who are Ecuadorians living in America. Therefore, I want to emphasize that there is a significant amount of activity occurring related to various religious practices and burials, and I believe something important here will also undergo changes. They might also discover some fascinating relics, potentially uncovering ancient holy sites, although these countries have a rich and extensive history that is very old. I hope you know that. Indigenous communities have long cherished and practiced strong rituals that are deeply embedded in their cultural heritage. These traditions are not new innovations, but are time-honored practices that continue to shape the identity and values of the people, passing through generations and remaining significant in their lives. Well, the extensive military preparations are also ongoing. They have probably become accustomed to such sentiments and reactions from the public. So, moving on to the fascinating country of Peru, projected for the year 2025, we will ultimately conclude our discussion with South America. It is important to note that Peru is currently experiencing the beginnings of some armed conflict. This situation is characterized by an increased military presence and significant funding being supplied from various countries. I will tell you right away that this financial support is coming primarily from certain states located in the eastern part of the world, which are actively financing these military efforts. This involvement raises various geopolitical concerns and implications for the region as a whole. There is a quiet, very quiet preparation underway for some significant military events that are approaching in the near future. But Russia also wants to get involved here, and it seeks to ensure that these territories maintain a friendly relationship and alignment with its interests and policies, fostering closer ties and cooperation in various areas. It's also very noticeable here. What else? Basically, everything is stable too. There is a possibility that a severe drought may occur this year, which is approaching and could significantly impact the region's water supply and agriculture. The current financial and economic situation here is weak as we approach 2025, and the outlook appears exceedingly grim. However, it is important to note that there are ongoing military training exercises taking place. Additionally, I have observed a group of individuals from Ecuador and Peru actively participating in these activities, indicating that these two countries are making efforts and become involved in the matters at hand here. However, I don't perceive Russia's influence prominently in Ecuador, while I certainly do observe it in neighboring Peru. So you see, it's much like a vibrant mosaic where some countries align closely with the West, while others form connections and partnerships with the East. That's how it is. My dear friends, in our next session, we will smoothly transition to Europe, where we will take a closer look at the European Union and examine each of the member countries gradually, one by one, in more detail. I also want to emphasize that the total volume of coverage we provide will depend significantly on how you choose to support the channel. If there is more substantial and serious support from certain countries, I will receive targeted and specific donations to aid my efforts. I will, of course, naturally consider all these countries more broadly. If it continues to be as empty as it is today, then I will swiftly cover the entire European Union, just like I did comprehensively with both North and South America in a mere 40 minutes. You were with Yulia Petrova. See you soon. Wishing you all the best and take good care of yourself. Goodbye.